display suites. This is going to be interesting. I've been asked from so many people for a long time. They've encouraged us on what we've been doing in the marketplace and how do you think about display suites? You know, how do you come up with these crazy ideas? A long time ago, I designed a display suite in the middle of a warehouse, and it was basically a townhouse development, quite a large one. And we designed and we built full-scale townhouses out of glass, and we did some crazy stuff. And we ended up selling that project, about 90% of it out in about 2.5, 3 weeks. It was incredible uptake. But we really, what it went down to, yes, the display suite was cool. Yes, the launch party had about 300 or 400 people there, and we had Alex Rance there, and it was a great night. But what was really important to what we were doing there, we were designing towards the customer. And what do I mean by that? One thing I've always been a big believer of is the customer journey. Been doing sales for 21 years. I've written customer journeys for 15 years. And I really pride myself on understanding the customer, because that's where it starts. So many developers and marketing people that I speak to today, they're constantly talking about, oh, how big should the display be? How would you design it? How do this? A lot of that is because they're looking at what other people are doing, and they're also not looking at the fundamentals, which is the customer. We go through such a strategic process to find out who the customer is in the design period when we design the apartment and what sizes, what's the mix and so on. And that is the same process that you should go through in your offices or in your marketing meetings in the display suite. Who is your customer? So the person that goes in and buys a Mazda or a Ford or Toyota has a very different customer journey to the person that goes in and buys an Aston Martin or Bentley. So we understand those two segments of the market, and they're both just as important as each other. So we design a journey and a display experience for those individuals. And you'll hear the word, as I mentioned just a second ago, experience. I'm a big believer in giving the customer the experience more so than the display. So when we're actually designing display suites where we can and where we can have them, we design an experience that is even more important than the actual finishes themselves. They're all part of the journey, but they're part of a journey that is a whole cohesive customer essential pathway to getting them on the understanding of the project, okay? And that's really important to us. So when we're looking at designing display suites and we're in that journey, we're taking the advice of 100% from the design team, the architects, the project managers, the development managers, and the marketing teams, but we're drawing on fundamentally the way the customer is going to view the project walking in. And and I mentioned this in other shows, taking time back. And this is a really thing that we've done quite a bit in the display segment, is not showing in traditional display suites. You walked in the door and you saw everything, living room, kitchen, and literally people gravitated straight to the kitchen because it was almost like the jewelry box of the home. And it's where people could essentially see what they're really going to be living in every day. Because in that environment, people don't sometimes care about, you know, looking at a lounge room with a TV and a couch, although that's really important to display. What people gravitate to are things that they can emotionally touch and feel. So then we take it a step back and go, we want to slow that process down. So when they walk in the display experience, they don't see those things directly straight away. The guard can come down, they go into an environment where we can offer them a coffee, a glass of wine, Chardonnay, whatever it may be. We slow that process down and we talk about the customer journey in the sense of like explaining to the client what went through the process of bringing this amazing project that you're standing in together. And that's through the design storyboard, and there's many ways we can display that, and there's been very creative ways. It's been displayed throughout various projects in the marketplace, and we've seen in the current years. Then you want to slowly walk your way through where the last thing you're showing them is the jewelry box, because we really fundamentally want to get them to the point where they're seeing where they're going to cook their family meals and have their family conversations once they've understood the process and the experience of the entire development team. And that's really important for a lot of reasons, because if we jump straight to the end, if people don't necessarily like what they've seen and haven't understood the story or what the developer's offering them or the marketing options to them, they may be very close to that situation and just decide there and then it's not for them. And then they go away and it's very difficult to re-engage them back into what you want to do. Hence the reason why I've mentioned about the sales process multiple times and taking time back. This is a period of time with COVID-19 where we can take time back in our process, being one-on-one with people, slowing it down and really showcasing the fundamentals that the display suite isn't just the physical box, but it's also a process of showing someone the journey, the story, if you want to put it, to the potential purchaser. And so please, don't just look at the display suite as a building. Look at the display suite as an end-to-end process, whether it's something you give them in their hand, whether it's something that you communicate into their homes through digital or hard copies in their letterboxes, whatever it may be. Look at that entire process to make sure that it's showcasing your story and your development in the best position. Thanks for watching the segment on Display Suite. I'm sure there's so much more I could downpack right now. I'm just giving little carrots, little things that we work on through the process. But if you do want to reach out, our details on the screen right now. Please DM us as well or give us a call. We'd love to hear from you and the great ideas that you're designing right now and what you're doing in your business and how we can come and advise you in your next project.